was looking for familiar faces and I couldn't find any. Yeah, there's a lot of new people I have to see.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight another edition of the Revere Republican City Committee meeting. Call to order. We're at the Revere Police Station on, what street is this anyways? Winthrop Ave. Revere Beach Parkway, sorry. Revere Beach Parkway, and they were humble enough to allow us to have a meeting in the police station itself. So now what we're going to do first is we're going to do a pledge allegiance. And Morris, will you start us off for World War II?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beautiful. Thank you, Morris.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, no. Hang on. Okay. Now, the next one. What I'm going to do is we have a guest speaker tonight.
Yes.
Very enlightening. Her name is, to get this right, Chanel Prunier. Right? Chanel, come on up, please.
Thanks, everybody. First, you guys have a wonderful crowd here for, I don't speak at a ton of city committee meetings that have this many people, so kudos to all of you for Chanel Prunier, yes. Yep. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chanel Prunier, and I'm the Executive Director of the Renew Massachusetts Coalition. We are a constitutional conservative, pro-life, pro-family organization. And our number one priority this legislative session is to defeat a piece of legislation called the Roe Act, which GOP Chairman Jim Lyons has renamed the Infantacide Bill. And so I'm going around, and a number of others are trying to talk to people about what this legislation does and what it would mean for our Commonwealth and our party and our citizens. So to start with, I want to talk about just briefly that this isn't something that's going on just here in Massachusetts. We tend to be one of the most liberal states in the nation, but this is part of a national effort. The left-wing pro-abortion Democrats are looking to dramatically expand state laws relative to abortion all across the nation. And so you may have heard at the beginning of the year, the state of New York passed a similar piece of legislation. They tried to do a bill like this in Virginia. Unfortunately, the Democrats were a little bit too truthful about what was in the legislation, and that their governor was caught on video basically saying that if a baby were born alive, it would be basically left to die while the mother and the doctor had a conversation about whether or not it should live. And so we have, as I said, there's a piece of legislation filed here in Massachusetts that has a lot of the same provisions. It's called the Roe Act, and we have a couple of ways we're asking people to help to oppose it. I'm going to give every one of you either if you could take either a push card or a photocopy of the front of the push card. I'm going to pass these around. I'm also passing around my card. So if anybody wants to, everybody should have a copy of that. There should be enough of those. If you want to reach out to me with questions about the legislation or anything else, you have my contact info. And these push cards are part of an effort that we are doing across the state. You'll notice that the legislators on the back of those are legislators from a different part of the state. Those are just an example for all of you, but I have photocopies for the rest so that you have a copy of the push card. We're going to be going door to door in a lot of different areas, so if anybody is interested in helping us do that, just shoot me an email. We also have an online petition that we're asking everybody across the state to sign. We will be presenting those petition signatures not just to local legislators, but also to the two committees that are going to have committee hearings on this bill. The the Judiciary Committee and the Committee on Public Health. So even if you think your state representative might be in favor of it, and it might not be worth your time to call that person or to email that person, the committees are going to be influenced by the sheer volume of signatures. And so we're looking for everybody to sign. And it's at a dedicated URL, which is www.saynotoroe.com. And so that is on, again, the push card and those flyers that I'm passing out. So what does the legislation do? Very briefly, it has 5 sort of key provisions that any one of them on their own would be worth opposing, but they're all packaged into this piece of dream legislation for the abortion industry. The first one, the one that Jim Lyons is talking about quite a bit, is that it allows for infanticide. There is a current provision under the current abortion laws that say if a baby is accidentally born alive during the commission of an abortion, the doctors, the nurses, people should give care to that baby, emergency life-giving care, so that it gets to live. That section of the current state law is deleted by this piece of legislation. So if it passes, that will be stricken from the law, essentially legalizing infanticide. It also deletes the parental consent notification and judicial bypass laws that we currently have. So right now, if a 12-year-old girl gets pregnant and she goes to have an abortion, there has to be some other adult involved in that decision. She either has to get the permission of one of her parents and notify them and have a discussion with them, or if for whatever reason she doesn't feel like that's an option, she can petition a judge who can hear the circumstances of her situation and grant her the ability to have an abortion at 12 years old. Under this legislation, that whole framework goes away, and so the only adult involved in the decision of a 12-year-old girl to have an abortion would be the abortion doctor, and who has a financial interest in the young lady having an abortion. The reasons that we have things like parental notification are to prevent young people from being exploited, and this would do away with that whole framework. That's a giveaway to basically people that would engage in illegal behavior, sex trafficking, things of that nature. So that's number 2. Number 3, the bill dramatically expands the circumstances under which someone can get a late-term abortion. Right now, if a baby is going to be aborted much later in the term, after 24 weeks, there has to be a reason. The mother's health has to be at risk. There has to be, there's a litany of reasons that are given in the law, for aborting a late-term, a baby that is viable, a late-term abortion. This legislation would basically expand no questions asked late-term abortion. So a woman could get an abortion all the way up to birth of the baby for basically whatever reason she wanted. Beyond that, it also expands taxpayer funding for abortion, particularly to, right now, Medicaid, the state Mass Health assistance program for folks that need help paying for insurance, already covers abortions. However, this would expand taxpayer subsidies of abortion to middle-class women who aren't necessarily poor enough to qualify for Mass Health or Medicaid. On top of that, it deletes the requirements that late-term abortions, which can be medically risky, are done in hospitals. And so if a woman has any kind of complication, perforated uterus, anything like that can happen because the abortion is late-term, those historically, there is a law right now that those are done in hospitals to protect women's health. That provision would be stricken so that late-term abortions could happen in clinics and other settings that are not necessarily set up for if there's some kind of medical emergency for the woman. And then finally, it changes the legal definitions of abortion and pregnancy to kind of whitewash what's really happening to the baby. Right now, the definition of pregnancy references the destruction of the life of an unborn child, right in our laws. All of that is stricken and stripped away. And so for all of these reasons, we oppose this legislation. We're asking for your help. The thing that I would ask everybody in this room to do is to sign that petition, which can be found at www.saynotoroe.com. Roe is spelled R-O-E. And I don't know, did everybody get either a push card or a flyer? If you did not, I'm going to sort of send these back that way. Someone can hand them to them. Everybody can grab one. The URL, as well as some of the talking points that I just went over, are right there on the flyer. I know we have a very busy agenda today, so if there are any questions, certainly I hope the governor vetoes this piece of legislation. I would ask him to do so. I would agree. He has not vetoed a lot of legislation that has passed that I would argue that he should. I'm here with my, nonpartisan Renew hat on to some extent. My objective is to talk about this bill, but I would urge everybody to call Charlie Baker and ask him to veto it if it gets to his desk. I hope it won't get that far. Call him, text him, email him, all of that. But I would say that, he's like a lot of folks that he needs to hear. Democrats, Republicans, everybody needs to hear from constituents, and right. Yep. Everybody should call them. Yeah.
I have a question, simple. You probably know more
Yeah.
than I would. Planned Parenthood was getting federal funding.
Yes.
From the state. Trump put an end to it. I know he did it by an
Right.
executive order.
So-
Did Charlie Baker, did he say or did he do? Thought he was going to do. He was going to put state funding. Make up for it?
So the legislature passed the supplemental budget. Essentially, the House and the Senate appropriated additional money for the purposes of replacing the money that that clinics lost by referring individuals for abortion and for engaging in abortion. And Charlie Baker signed it. It was about $8 million. Now, this prompted a cry from everybody and their cousin about other things the president is rightfully ending in terms of federal reductions across the board on all kinds of things. And the speaker said, whoa, we can't go back and backfill every cut that the federal government makes. And so essentially what he was saying is it was a one-time giveaway to the abortion industry, because really that's what it is. It's a for-profit enterprise. But they treat it, a lot of these clinics as if they are, not out to make a quick buck on a young woman's abortion. So, back here, yeah.
Pass some legislation to protect these babies as soon as they're born. That's murder.
That's right.
It's murder.
Yep.
Simple. Republican or Democrat, we should be passing bipartisan legislation to protect these babies.
It's a liberal agenda. It's got
You know
nothing
where
to do with that.
you know where you live?
Yeah, we do, we want to stop it.
Yeah, no, it's never gonna happen. It's 4-1, at least 4-1 in this state.
Well, I'd encourage everybody, the only thing we can do is try. And certainly be as loud as we can and make our voices heard, and go from there, so.
That really has nothing to do with the abortion. It became a life, it's a life.
I totally agree with you, but their agenda is, the left has blinders on. They are so committed to this idea of abortion that it's skewed their logic, so. Yeah. Again, I agree.
I still don't understand why we're not protected.
Agenda 2030, they want to get rid of human race.
That's all right.
They're trying to save the planet. And if anybody understands Agenda 2030 and have a lot of information on it, you need to get educated, people. It's real. And it's
Talking about the
happening.
UN agenda?
Excuse me?
UN agenda?
Yes.
Yeah, the UN is totally illegal. It should be defunded. Because
Yes.
they're ready to invade Italy because
Yes.
they're putting them in terms.
Yes,
Exactly.
it's not good. And
Okay,
people,
sorry
we
about
need
that.
to
Sorry, get off
educate
the
people,
tangent.
sorry.
Any more questions,
So,
Chanel?
So aside from this signature effort.
Yep.
Which is led by you, right?
Right, and then the push cards, we'll asking people to volunteer to
Okay,
distribute
so is
those.
there any,
There will be a hearing, so the other thing I would ask is if anybody is interested in testifying before the committee or rallying with us, bring your signs, things like that. We will be reaching out to everybody, and certainly if and I'll pass this around, if anybody wants to be notified of updates, I have a sign-up sheet, and actually I can leave all these here, and then Joyce can get them back to me, or, yeah. Okay, yep, so anybody that wants to be updated on the legislation can sign up, and we'll let you know when we plan to hold rallies and when we have the hearing for people that want to testify. We do need people to give short testimony, less than 2 minutes about why you're opposed to the legislation. But in addition to people testifying, we also just need a crowd there. We need a crowd of people with signs that say, this is infanticide, don't support late-term abortion, support parental consent, things of that nature. Circuit courts, you send challenges to. You hear all about how bad the Ninth Circuit Court is and how you don't.
That's on the other side.
Right, exactly. You don't want to send things there, things of that nature. And so, again, the national groups, the coalition that I work for, that I represent, is a state group. And the national groups are the ones that pursue the strategy of where legislation, gets challenged so that it goes through the courts that they think would make the most sense in order to have that path to the Supreme Court. So, okay, I think I've got a lot of, yeah.
This is the last question on this here.
Well, yes, so if,
I can hand it out to people.
yes. So if you email me, we'll get you more literature. Yeah. Did you pass the card, or did you get my?
A pamphlet so people can read
Yes,
what's going on, because,
I don't
this
have-
is just a brief description of what's going on.
I didn't want to bring everything with me, but if you email me, we can determine what exactly you want, package, where you want to distribute it, what would make the most sense. We have a variety of marketing materials. Some things are designed to be posted online, some are designed to be passed out, and we can figure out. This makes sense.
We have to read and understand what it says.
Yes, yeah, excellent. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time.
Okay,
Actually, anybody not from Revere? Me. Okay, so.
said that too quick, I didn't like that. She said that too quick.
If you want to have Richard, and then Richard has one. There's groups of people going around and giving a similar talk to committees all over the state. And so if you want to have somebody come talk about this legislation, that is a flyer with more information. And we have an event next week. I'm going to leave some of these with Joyce. And I
All
will
right, Joyce,
clear
you're
it up.
next on the Price is Right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Chanel Prunier. And next one on tap is the State Committee report by Joyce Kelly, Republican State Committee woman. Let's hear it.
Oh, I'm going this way, too many things around. Okay. Excuse me. This I have to read, because this is my report. The last state committee meeting, by the way, I represent Revere, plus I live in Revere, and Winthrop, East Boston, the part of Boston that Richard's in, and parts of East Cambridge and Chinatown. Okay, so this is my report of January 17th, 2019. Okay, the prior chair, GOP chair, Kristen Hughes, had announced she would not be standing for re-election. So the business of the meeting was to elect a new chair of the GOP. Okay, former state representative Jim Lyons and state committee treasurer Brent Anderson were the only two names on the ballot. Jim Lyons spoke first and talked about unity. He challenged Massachusetts Republicans to focus on the 80% of the ideals where there is consensus with the Democrats, and most importantly, to show respect for one another. Jim said he and the governor would disagree strongly on some issues. That's so true. But they will work well together on the reform-focused agenda of the Baker administration. Following Jim's remarks, Brett Anderson then addressed the committee. Brett began his comments by highlighting his experience and long record of party activism, and he has served as the state committee treasurer for 16 years. Brett was endorsed by 21 Mass GOP legislators. That's a lot, considering there's only 33 Republican legislators in the House, okay, out of 160. Brett also received the support of the 3 Mass GOP Senate candidates, Jeff Deal, John Kingston, and Beth Lindstrom. The state committee then took a secret ballot to vote on the candidates. The votes were tallied, 47 for Jim Lyons and 30 votes for Brett Anderson. It was a shock for everyone. Jim Lyons then became the new chair of the Mass GOP. To a standing ovation and shouts of "Jim, Jim, Jim," Chair Lyons took the podium and presided over the rest of the meeting. Chair Lyons told the state committee he's humbled by their support and pledged to work hard to honor his commitment to the party. We'll be having another meeting in 2 weeks. We have 5 a year. Just off the record, not a report. I was in sunny California, Nevada, and I got a call January, whatever, around January 15th. You have to come home. You have to get on the plane. I said, no, I told everyone I couldn't be there for the vote. You have to get on the plane. So we got on the plane. What else could we do? And I didn't want anyone to know that I was there, so I walked in 5 minutes before the meeting so I could vote for who I wanted to vote for. Jim has been, it's just been wonderful. He informs us about everything. State committee people, we get notices all the time. He's just, it's just unbelievable. And he has got rid of most of the people in the Baker administration that were in the GOP. So now they're more 2 separate entities than they were before. You know, now it's the Mass GOP and Governor Baker's administration. So I just wanted to say that. And I don't have my agenda with me to see who's talking next. Glenn?
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is our one and only committee treasurer, Rick.
So they haven't been any activity. Currently, right now, as of today, there is still $312.77 left in the account. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. We accept the report?
Yes.
I second it.
Excellent, thank you, Al. Okay, next one. Morris, our vice chairperson and world hero.
So you can see everyone. I just want to say something. This, so you can see everyone. No, just so you can see who
Oh, I'm
everyone's
just
here.
gonna do that anyway.
We started this committee April of 2012, 7 years. And in 7 years, Morris,
Why don't you just sit in the chair, Mark?
Yeah.
Turn around and sit in the chair, that'll be all right.
Here you go.
are you ready? In 7 years, he had the nerve to miss one meeting because he was in the veterans hospital. That is the truth.
I should have gone to the hospital.
I'm just gonna introduce the new people, so if you're new here, raise your hand, just raise your hand. Okay, hold it. I'm gonna give you a number because I don't know who you are, so as I call them 1, 2, 3, 4, you just go up. So raise your hands, one more, three, keep it up. 1 in the back, 2, 3, 4, 5, just 5, right? Okay, number 1, introduce yourself and take a minute to tell us about yourself.
My name's Wayne Rose. I'm a candidate for councillor at large in Revere. I do many things. I've been fighting the rat problem. I fight to help children. I actually got you the blue barrels from the rat pages that I have on Facebook. I also have a detox page, a Revere Good page, and I have a few other pages. I can't remember them right now.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Wayne, Danny, Elizabeth,
Number 2, please.
Hi, my name is Gina Castiello from Revere. I grew up in Revere. Graduated Revere High in 1975. And I raised my family here in Revere. And I never really got involved with politics, but I did lose my nephew in 2005. And the A.C. Whalen School, which was built when my father bought the house in Revere, for the new families coming in was given some money by the federal government to build the A.C. Whalen, Susan B. Anthony. 2005, I lost Lawrence Salamoni, my nephew. And the gymnasium was memorialized after him. He lost his life in the Navy during Operation Enduring Freedom. And to my understanding, and this is why I am here, because I am passionate about my grandchildren growing up in a free country. Thank you.
Thank you. I got that. Number 3.
I'm Stiletto. I'm from East Boston. My father, you know, Tony Barrasso, World War II, so I'm trying to keep the legacy of history alive. He was born and raised in Revere. My uncle's Joe Del Grosso, city councilor at large, state rep. So I'm involved in politics now because there's indoctrination going on in the public schools in East Boston, and it's got to stop. Came right from my granddaughter.
Part of Agenda 2030, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's me, the singer, songwriter.
Common Core, we gotta get rid of Common Core.
So the
No
people
more
that
Common Core.
don't know Tony Barrasso, he's a World War II veteran, and he is over 100 years old.
101.
101.
Yeah.
101.
And I take care of him. God bless
On
him.
a daily basis.
2, 3, number 4.
Yeah, I didn't put my name's Nick Malayson. I'm a candidate for Ward 6. I ran 2 years ago at large. Running for Ward 6 this year. I do a lot, you know, as Wayne does. Wayne's fighting the rat problem a lot more than me, but I also run a nonprofit for detox, to get people into detox every day. Detox, sober homes, whatever the case may be. But I believe in a lot of stuff that things have to change. You know, there's no change if there's no change. So we need a different thought process in the city council in Revere, and that's why I'm running for Ward 6.
Good luck to you and thank you.
Ironically, number 5, my name's Eric Lipidecchio, I'm running.
Oh, you're 5?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
six.
I'm 6.
That's all right.
That's okay. No, I'm sorry.
We saved the
I
rest.
wish I was 8.
My name's Eric Lipidecchio, I'm running for Ward 5 City Council in the city of Revere. I did run 2 years ago, and I came very close to unseating a 20-year incumbent, so hoping for a different result this time around. Nice to meet you, and thank you for having me as a guest tonight.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
I hope you indulge me, folks. I came to get this published because I saw the thing, I think trying to focus in on what we have to do in a way is to get rid of the one-party system. I don't care, who it is, but we have to change horses after so long, because even if their intentions are good, they rot after 3 or 5 years. They start taking over, But I was very upset by, the kids were upsetting in the schools. They tore down some signs in front of my house on Broadsound Ave. My name is Frank Ferrera. I'm sorry, sir. Frank Ferrera, and I live on Broadsound Ave in Revere, lifelong resident. But if you can indulge me, I know this isn't going to get published, but now that I see this newspaper, I was hoping I could get it published. But I had to answer the people that see something, say something. So when someone says something about students harassing teachers, a school committee chair said in the newspaper, it was published in the Advocate, anyone making such allegations should also exercise caution. You may have heard that, but it may not actually be what happened. So I think I'm a good writer. If you need me as a good writer, you could edit me, but let me finish. I'm gonna.
Excuse me. We're
So
going to
now
have
it's
longer at the end.
So
You
now
know,
it's see
we can
something,
talk longer
shut
at
up,
the end.
no one will do anything. When a grasp of reality leaves our public servants, leaders, they are no longer capable of caring about our reality these days. Seriousness is required, preventive action must be taken. It is our duty, inaction will not be accepted. All right, now.
Okay, tell us what your favorite color is, at least. Okay, that's good.
I was a loss for words.
She's open. Okay, if you decide after the end, we'll let you speak. Okay, it's my honor to introduce our favorite
Phones off, please, phones off.
Councillor at Large, Tony Zambutto.
Oh, it's just for you? I thought I had a mic for the whole place. I guess I gotta talk loud. Listen, I'm thrilled to be here with this kind of a crowd. I want to welcome everybody, but I think we missed one announcement, didn't we? Did you say something, Phil? Oh, you didn't want to? Or? Oh, no. Well, we have another candidate in the audience here, so.
We have two.
Folks, well, let's let. Well, Wayne spoke. Are you another candidate? Who's the other candidate? Huh? Al Terminello. Okay. So, Phil, why don't you say something first, and then before I give my little spiel.
I was a delegate at the convention, and I am now rerunning for Ward Councillor in Revere.
We have a real Republican here, Al Terminello.
A real one?
Good evening, everybody.
We have some Republicans here, which is great to have them.
I don't have to give my Republican credentials if anybody really knows me. I've been quoted a time or two. But anyway, I'm running the school committee this year, as I have in the past, and I'm hoping to make a difference. And I understand this gentleman was a little bit out of order for speaking when he did, but he was right on the money of what he did, because the school systems here in Revere need a good kick in the ass.
Yeah, no more Common Core.
You've been held hostage by 3 superintendents, Carol Ty, Paul Dakin, and now Kelly. The 3 of them, you got a stranglehold on this city and are holding everybody hostage. The lottery system in this system right now for the school department is atrocious, and yet they still force it down everybody's throat when 90% of this population doesn't want it. I'm not going to speak any longer, but I just want you to know I'm here for the students and for the families of Revere, not to line my pockets and sit on my ass. Thank you very much.
Over my dead body.
All right. Order, people, for God's sakes. Tony, go ahead.
I wish I had your voice. It's exciting to see this many people here tonight. You know, I'm the only elected Republican in the 1st Suffolk Middlesex district, in the whole district. The only, of any office.
She's elected every 4 years.
Yeah, no, she's the state committee woman. It's different. I'm talking about as either a councillor or a rep, or, he likes to pick on me, but it's okay, I can take it. I got thick skin. Anyways, I'm thrilled that we have some Democrats here tonight, some independents, and some people that are just concerned citizens. And I love what you had to say. I love your passion. I knew your nephew. I knew him when he was born. I'm neighbor to his grandmother, and
I've always voted for you.
well, thank you.
Continue to vote on a level, anybody in this room who supports my president. And if you don't, no one's getting my vote.
There you go.
Amen.
Well, I don't think there's a bigger supporter of the president than me, and everybody knows that.
No, not everybody.
Well, most people who know me know that I was way out front for Donald Trump when nobody believed he could be elected. In fact, I still have people at work that owe me dinners because we bet. And unfortunately, some of them wanted to double up the day before the election. I said, I don't want to take your money.
The governor doesn't love him like you do.
Anyway, please, you don't know how many not so nice conversations him and I had over that. And all I could ask him for was to stop bad-mouthing him. Listen, the only thing I can say about Charlie Baker tonight is that he's the lesser of the evils. We had a choice between a socialist, who was the Democrat candidate, and Charlie Baker. So, listen, am I happy that he signed that Planned Parenthood piece of crap bill? Absolutely not. But at least he stopped some of the things from happening.
I'm
So.
not worried about other stuff, not necessarily that, taxes.
Yeah, well, I'm not here to talk about Charlie Baker.
I know.
I was asked to give an update on what's happened in the last couple of years on the city council. I'll go over a couple of the things that have been accomplished. I will say that this year, there will be 5 hotels coming out of the ground in the city of Revere. That's a good thing for the taxpayers. That's a good thing That's a good thing for the city. Hotels, I'll take questions at the end.
Empty cities.
Anyhow, we'll start with that. Now, Wayne talked about the Blue Barrels. I think that's a big accomplishment for the city, and obviously because of the rodent control. What some people don't know is what we do have in the city is a waiver program, that citizens can sign a waiver and the city will pay for an exterminator to go on their property. And that's a way to control rodents. It starts with the barrels, but there's also a way to end the rodent program. You've got to have extermination. You can't just do it. You got to eliminate their food source, and that's what the blue barrels do, if they're used properly. Now, a lot of people still aren't using them properly. They're not closed. They have to be closed. If they're not, it's just like the same deal all over again. It's an open book. So, and it served me well, huh? Okay. All right. So, anyways, we talked about 5 hotels. You know that hotels pay many fees to the city, and they use no services. So it's a win-win. When you see a hotel coming out of the ground, it's a good thing. Now, there's a lot of apartments.
Is that hotels will be the one that will be built along with the
Excuse me.
residential units?
I just need to get a little water here.
So the hotels that you're talking, are those the
There's
ones?
5 of them.
5, yeah. Are those the ones that are gonna be built in Suffolk along with the residential units? Because I watched a hearing where the developer came, and it was like 3,000 units on the side of Revere, which is next to us, and 6,000 or something like that in the side of Boston. A developer who bought the Suffolk down, and I don't know if they own the other
Okay.
area that demolished.
You're talking about Suffolk Downs. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so is that development part of the hotel or?
It's
no?
not part of the 5 I'm talking about, no.
Okay.
They're starting off the project at the Hospons with a $50 million innovation building.
The hotels?
No, that's not the hotel.
Ah, okay.
That's a commercial building it's an innovation building, which is where companies go and startup companies go and work. It's a copy of what's been done on the waterfront in Boston, South Boston.
9,000 units?
No,
Tony,
no.
can you take questions?
Okay. I didn't know this was going to be tough here.
No, it's not tough. At the end, we can talk about it.
Okay. So anyways, we talked about the barrel program and, more importantly, the waiver program, which is not a lot of people know about that, and it should be publicized because it's very important. If you do have rats, you want help, and you need help, and you should get help. And there's a lot of ways to do it. That's one way. Other ways is enforcement and teaching people, and we have a lot of new neighbors that we talked about, and some people have mentioned, but in a lot of the cultures, they don't understand how to get rid of their trash. In some of these countries, it's thrown in the street, and that's perfectly acceptable. That's not acceptable here, obviously, and that's part of the problem, but it's not the main problem. The main problem is a lot of people don't do the right thing. And some commercial places don't do the right thing by covering the dumpsters and so forth and so on. And the enforcement has been stepped up on that. And it's not looked on kindly if a business is not taking care of their trash because they're contributing to the rodent problem. And I'll be one to go out there and enforce myself if I had to. Just a couple of things, and I don't want to be someone who's speaking for the mayor, but there's a thing called Next Stop Revere, which is a process for the city's master plan. It involves all the residents come and get involved, and some of my colleagues have been there. Some of my friends here that are running for office have been to this, and it's a good thing because a lot of ideas come. Some might consider ridiculous, some might consider good. There's a lot of different ideas, and the more people you talk to about what they see as the vision of the city in the future, the better. So that's one of the things. I took a couple of little notes here so I wouldn't forget. The 311 program has really worked well. It's worked well for me, and I know some people have been using it, and a lot more are using it nowadays. And there's action. There's a lot of money was just put into streets and sidewalks, and you're going to see this spring a lot of streets and sidewalks redone in the city, which is a good thing because I've been on the council for years. Thanks. It's not me. It's a collaborative effort, and the city's in good financial shape right now. I have to say that. I couldn't always say that when I was on the council, but it is in good financial shape, and we're able to do things like put extra money above and beyond the Chapter 90 money that the state gives us to fix roadways. I don't have the number in front of me, but the mayor proposed a lot of money to put into streets and sidewalks as a capital expense this year. It's the first time it's ever been done to such a magnitude. It's a good thing. One of the big things I get is complaints obviously about streets and sidewalks, and nobody wants to walk out of their house and trip and fall, and some of them are in deplorable condition, so it's a good thing. It was wonderful to have Chanel come here and talk about pro-life issues. I think I was the only one to ever talk about pro-life at these meetings, and I'm unabashed pro-life conservative, have been my whole life. People know me, and people know that that's what I'm about, and so I'm proud to be part of that, and it was wonderful to hear that. And I think that's a horrible bill that's up before the state legislature. It's truly infanticide, and it's killing a baby after it's born, and it's disgusting. And so I'll do anything I can to stop that. I'll lobby every legislator I know, and I don't know if we'll succeed. And I hope that Charlie Baker won't sign that bill. He'll sign it under my protest, I can tell you that much. And I've been an angry person when it comes to the school budget. For years I've been arguing that we should have control over we have no control over the school budget. All we do is by net school spending, we have to give X amount of dollars, and I was never happy about that. I argued for years that we should be able to at least have some say in the budget, and the school superintendents have been talked about, but they wouldn't even give us the respect of coming up and talk before the city council at the budget. So I'm not a fan of that whole system. I hope new people get elected, namely one in this room. I know you won't keep your mouth shut about that. So anyhow, I think I could go on and on with some of the things we've done over the years. I'll say one more thing about what I've done. My goal when I came to the Revere City Council was to build a police station. If I didn't get elected to the city council, this building would not be here today. That sounds like a bragging thing. You can ask anybody. When I first got on the council, there was no appetite to build this building. I convinced them that the police were living in a condemned building, and if they went to they put a grievance in, we would have had to put them in trailers. The trailers were going to be $3 to $4 million to put them in temporary trailers until we built the station. I convinced the city council that it would be better to use that money towards the mortgage. Now, there was a long way to get here. We had to get this land from the state. This was DCR property. We had to transfer wetlands, and a long, long way to get there. But the bottom line is, if I was not elected in this council, we may have had a police station by now, but we would not have this police station built in 2008. And so I'm proud of that. I consider it my biggest achievement as a city councilor. It was the reason I ran. I had a passion to build a new police station. And
morale.
And I achieved my major goal right off the bat. I never intended to stay this long in the city council. I ran on term limits. I got there and I found out I made a difference. And the people like me because I tell the truth. They don't always like me because I'll tell you if something's being built in your neighborhood and it's good for the city, I won't tell you what you want to hear. And there's a couple of people in this room who know me very well and know that people come up to me and say, I'm going to work against you in the next election. And I say, that's okay, but I have to tell you the truth. This is good for the city, and I have to support it. So that's who I am, that's what I do, and I still have the passion. I care about the city, I know I make a difference, and that's why I stay on the city council. Thank you.
There's a few announcements as we get.
Can I just say one thing?
Thank you, Louis. The moral of the story is don't.
I like people. I welcome people to my house. I get along good with people everywhere. But you know what? You cannot fit 3,000 people in this room. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. It's not that I don't want to be nice, because I am. I don't look like it now. But I mean, but we just can't do that. And we're being overrun. Now all of a sudden, Trump wants to send them to California, those sanctuary cities. Oh, now they don't like it. Oh yeah, they don't want them now all of a sudden. Well, they should be doing the right thing to begin with. Shouldn't be encouraging them to come up. Hey, look, I'll bet you $1 million there's 50 million Chinese who would love to come over here. Why don't we take them? Why don't we take 50 million Ruskies? They might want to come over here, and they'd like to come over and make some money, live a better life. Guess what? I don't have anything against that.
The Chinese don't have the coyote.
The guy that I was talking about, that I said I took care of for 7.5 years, who was paralyzed, he came here with his wife, left a 2-year-old daughter at home in Guatemala, and it didn't bother me at all. This was back in the 90s. And I said, well, you know, everybody wants a better life. You got kids, you want your kids to have better things. Everybody feels that way. There's no problem with that. But the problem is we can't take 50 million Chinese. We can't take 50 million Ruskies, and we can't take 50 million people from South America. Yes, on the bottom of the Statue of Liberty it says, oh, bring me your humbled, your meek, your starving, and all that stuff. And you know what? That's wonderful, because really Americans are like that. And don't let anybody call you a racist or any of that. That's crap. But the truth of the matter is that we want it to be that way. We would like to be that way. People say, oh, that's not who we are. Guess what? It is who we are. The problem is times have changed. Back then we could do that. Now it's a totally different world that we live in. We cannot do that. Yes. I have some personal things too. Okay. Now I do have one question. Yeah. Why wasn't I invited to the party again? Which party?
Party with 40 people.
With 40 people?
This party, Crystal Meth.
Oh.
Oh my God, everybody's showing up.
I did. You didn't get my email. But anyway, yeah. But anyways, you know, we can't be phony about it. You know, Charlie Baker, I'm changing his name to Charlie Faker. Yes. Because the guy lied. I mean, I don't mind, but I dropped $200 in the box. I went with him on the stump down in Revere Beach with the sand castles. I marched through East Boston with him. You know, I went and did calls out in Commonwealth. We went to the televised debate, and that really killed me. Because he went in to debate Martha Coakley. We went into a bar restaurant, and I'm sitting there. There's two women on both sides of me, and one lady's going, oh, don't do that, Charlie. Don't do it, Charlie. Oh, come on, Charlie, hold on. He's getting a big crybaby thing. He's headed on the... I'm like, what the hell is he doing? He's supposed to be attacking Martha Coakley and all this stuff, and you know something? And he's done other things that I did not like. When he said, I won't tell you who I'm voting for, but I will tell you who I'm not voting for. Donald Trump. When he said that, boy, wham, the bullet went right through. I didn't like that at all. Because I like people. I like to be good to people. You know, God made you to be that way. You should be good to people. It has nothing to do with race or religion. It has to do with how many people can you fit in your kitchen? And why do you want to screw your own grandchildren out of their future? When we get inundated, they're going to be so powerful, they're going to vote themselves in, and you can take a walk. That's a very dangerous thing. If you think about anything, think about your grandchildren. Was I too loud? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wanted to speak for 20 more.
She was talking about the ideology. We don't care where you come from. I come from the moon.
I understand that. I understood that. Yes.
Like my grandchild getting taught that now. And I'm
Yes.
gonna fight it.
That's okay. I agree with you. I agree with that. I agree with that.
This man right here, Bill Jackson, wants to make an announcement. This is a very important announcement. You've got to listen. Order.
Well, I was going to not make the announcement, but I am going to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. Along with the other 5,000 people. But no, I'm a Donald Trump supporter, and I will work in his next campaign. However, I would like to comment about the previous speaker. He was not strong enough in his statements about the border. What we need at the border is 1/2 of the United States Marine Corps lined up at that border so nobody can get in that doesn't belong here.
Let's take the 82nd Airborne.
You know, this country is just not open for anyone that just wants to come walking in here. That is not what this country is set up for. Did you ever read the Constitution of the United States? You just can't come walking in here because you feel like it. You cannot do that. We have rules, we have regulations, we have a Constitution, and our border is not an open border for anybody that wants to come in.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President. Now, anybody else want to make an announcement? Want to run for president, vice president?
No.
Come on up.
Okay.
This is Yvonne.
Hi, everybody.
Very lovely.
So now we mean business here. So we have this organization, which is Mass for Trump. So ahead of everybody else, in the state of Massachusetts, we are putting people together. We are making events. You don't have to spend nothing, just be there.
What do you want
We've
us
been
to do?
expelled from places
There's no date.
by police, Rousseau, Stiletto, and Gina knows. So we are ready. So the information is there. If you are on Twitter, if you have Facebook, if you want to send us an email, that's anything you need to know. And you will be updated every week of what is going on for elect our president next year. So we need to work hard for that. Okay, so that's all.
Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Is there anyone else that hasn't spoken today? It doesn't have to be about politics. You might have something else going on. Claire?
Okay, thank
you.
you. By the way,
You're quiet, everyone be quiet.
excuse me, please. Tony, I want to say one thing. I agree with you about the Revere Police Department. They are first class. We took the Revere Citizens Police. We went there, here, we learned what the police do. Trust me, you have the best police department, I think. Number two, I love Donald Trump too. But guess what? We're in the city of Revere. Politics is local. Well, do you follow what DeLeo does these days? Please. Pay attention to local first. That's it.
Excellent. Now, are you ready to speak? Come on, get up. Don't be.
Tara.
Anyone else want to make an announcement? Oh, this man, the man
it's something I've said before, the importance of social media. Everyone knows journalism is dead in this country.
Yeah.
I'm not on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. What I do is I've friended over 2,000 people, and I get my opinions out there. I post conservative blogs. By the way, my name's Rick Terenzi. Some of you actually might be on my Facebook.
We are.
It's all I like. It's not for everyone to do. You alienate family, you lose friends, you get called every name in the book.
I live far every day.
Did you get friends? Got that soda.
Did you get friends yet?
Oh, yeah. I bought fried soda. What I'm saying is, you can reach many more people that way, and I think it's very important. You reach more people than holding a sign or anything like that. You pass along other people's posts. So, you know, if that's your thing, get on Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, get on Twitter. Whatever it is, because you know what? We're the news now. There is no news anymore, no journalism.
Exactly.
Wait again, we don't talk about it. We talk about Donald Trump.
It's right here.
We millionaires tax. We don't talk about it. It's happening. How do you know about these things? I've joined Citizens for Limited Taxation. I've been a member for years. It's folding. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. He's moved to Kentucky. He's still carrying it. It's terrible. You have to join things like that to get the newsletter, to know what's happening, because they're not gonna let you know what's happening.
That's why we've got to
It's
stick
gonna be
together.
sprung on you.
Boston Broadside.
Americans, we're America.
Leave it.
That's all I have to say.
Excellent, Gil.
Amen.
And we're gonna end it on that.
Thank you.
I just want to say one quick word.
Yes, man.
I want to thank Rick for the senior prom that you're doing. I happen to be a senior at the center.
Get out, you're not a senior, are you?
No way.
I know I'm a senior. I went to
You
know.
had me cool.
Hey, I went to the notion last night. 4 people bet on me.
It's Nick.
Nick, I want to say again, thank you for doing what you do. No problem. Thank you.
I'm gonna be there next Thursday bringing dessert.
What's your favorite song and I'll play it for you?
I'll think of it between now and then. I'll come up with a
Okay,
good
you're
song.
right with me.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Anything my friends
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna come to an end tonight. I thank everybody for showing up. And please come again often, so you two ladies too.
Councillor Garrett.
23rd, and you can learn
This is
all
it.
about the Green New Deal. And it would be nice.
There's a man who's done so much. Nobody wants to sell all that money.
I'll bring my clothes
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we close up. Thank you for coming.
He's a bit
Have a
of
happy
a
Easter.
bigger waste than John Kerry, and that's going for
They came from the state.
Have a happy Passover and a happy Easter.
One of us.
Yeah, but.
Good job.
Yeah, but I'm not supposed to be doing it. I had. Get a photo? Did Joe get it? Ask
If I had 4 more hours, I would have got up and spoke about the very thing you were speaking about in the same way.
If you don't think the picture's
You know what
That's it?
all set?
You got it? Good, beautiful. Thank you very much.
That's all I talk about.
Perfect. Okay, and you got that.
I was looking for